Welcome back to another episode of The Road to 2200. I am 1939. My opponent is only 1797, so that's quite a bit lower than me. An interesting start. C6 right away. I think I'm just going to respond with some normal moves. But there was a little bit of me that was like, maybe I should play e4. I normally would not play e4, but I was tempted. I am playing a 10-5 game today. I'm going to try to play it a little bit faster and see if that helps when we get into spots where we need more time. Yeah, I'll just go into my normal exchange Slav thing, and then I'll play all my normal moves here first. Then it'll be here. Then it'll be here. And I've gotten a lot of feedback that this is not ambitious enough, and yeah, I understand that. That is not wrong or inaccurate feedback. It's not a very ambitious opening setup that I'm doing. I'm going more for consistency in positions than I am for ambitious setup. And I think it's something that we all kind of have to grapple with. What do we want from a position? Do we want the most optimal position, or do we want the position we understand the best? And I don't know. That can be kind of tough. So we've got a pretty darn symmetrical looking position here. My next question is where this bishop goes. And there's not a lot of choices. This seems to be the main choice. Or this. And here, I want to go here. But I am definitely worried my opponent will go there. But if they do, maybe I just go here. So let's go here. Controlling this e4 square quite a bit. I'll just castle and get safe. I assume my opponent will castle as well. This bishop looking much worse than my bishops, right? Their bishop is pinned in behind their pawn. So I have to assume that something like b5 is probably coming. Yeah, not too surprising there. I don't really want them to do this. That looks like a pretty strong idea, right? Like, where does this knight go? I'm pretty tempted just to play here to halt that bishop's advance and give myself a good square there. It does open this square. So how hard will it be for my opponent to fill that square? If I go here, they can fill it from here or here. So, it's a good 3 moves away. But it is a permanent issue. So I'm a little bit torn on it. So if I don't take that approach, I'm not even really sure what my plan is here. I guess another idea just might be go on the open file, take that first. I don't think I'm going to get the open file necessarily. I think I'm going to go here. I'm not sure this is the best idea. My opponent's almost assuredly going to go there. Then I can follow up here. Okay, castling first does make sense. I'll just put my rook on an open file. I'm just making very sensible moves right now. Like, all the pieces are put on pretty optimal squares. I'm going to be able to double on the open file. I don't really have a plan. I don't have a tactic I'm looking to do. I'm just looking to improve my pieces in a very basic... What am I even doing? Like, what? Huh? I just hung the pawn? What? Okay. That is a very odd oversight. I don't even know how I made that. I think the best way to deal with this might be to just become very dynamic. And then takes here, and I've got a lot happening on the king side. I mean, my opponent has plenty of defenses, but I mean, I've made a pretty huge blunder for no reason whatsoever. Yeah, I'm just going to go here. The theory being that I can double here still if I want. Like, maybe I end up with a rook here, and this knight is here. And I don't know. I don't even know what happened. I guess I hung another pawn now too? Like, what? What is happening here? I don't know. Okay, well, at least I only hung one pawn. I guess I get to say. I mean, I'm much higher rated than my opponent, so I'm kind of hoping that that will be, I don't know, will that be enough to come back from? I kind of don't think so, but we'll see. That is the problem with not being ambitious, is that I've got a pretty modest setup that I'm looking to sort of gain slight advantages from. And, when you make a mistake like this, I feel like it's bigger. Whereas if you have a very ambitious opening that's very dynamic and you make a mistake, there's other areas to make it up. I feel like my approach is kind of grindy and small advantages. And if you just chuck a pawn, it's a little bit harder, I feel like, to just come back from. At this point, I'm just going to try to put enough pressure on my opponent that maybe they make a mistake. That's really sort of the approach I'm going for here. Certainly not what I would have liked to do this game. I'm tempted to just push this pawn and just see, like, does that cause some weaknesses? Does that pop anything open? This knight is in a nice menacing spot. If they want to kick it via this pawn, I mean, they could go here, actually, which seems like a pretty darn reasonable move. Trying to get rid of one more of my pieces. A pretty decently placed piece. Also, then play f6. Okay, that seems like a slightly strange way to do it to me. Like, especially since, I guess if they take, they can go here. But their pawns do get pretty messed up in that variation. Yeah, I'm just gonna say no, because then yeah, that's fine. I'm just gonna say my goal here is to get messy. That's my goal. Okay, so with that, very reasonable move. I think I'll just go here. I guess this is annoying, right? Because now it's like hitting this. I think I'm in very big trouble. I mean, I think maybe I overreacted, but I truly felt like the game was over when I dropped that pawn. Like, I just was like, well, I lost. Now can I do something interesting to steal a win, essentially? An interesting idea I have now is to go here with the idea that, okay, that seems like a good plan. Yeah. I guess I want to go here. And then I don't know. I kind of want to go like, okay, interesting. I can go here. Yeah, I think I like that first. Opponent doesn't have a lot of great moves from here other than retreating. If they take here with the pawn, I think they lose. If they go back, okay, if they go back to here, now they can get in here. But that feels much less impactful right now. It really just feels like I'm either lost or I can find some tricks. And so I'm not super worried about like this knight being well placed on the opposite side of the board. That kind of seems good to me. Get your defenders out of there. All right, we need to start looking at wild moves like takes. Okay, so maybe I want to go here. I'm giving up this pawn. I don't think I want to give up that pawn though. Actually, why don't I just push to here? It does take away this square from my knight. I kind of like the idea of like here. The problem, of course, is this hangs. So I'm thinking about going here first. I guess what I really need to take serious is they're probably going to play f6. So if I've gone here, then here, then we've got the trapping trick. So that's not going to work very well. I mean, I can take here. Wait, is this piece hanging? Hold on. They just hung a knight. What? What is happening with my chess abilities right now? They hung their knight, and the only reason I found it is because I looked at whether my bishop would be trapped, and if it's trapped, maybe I could get out of the trap by taking that knight. Oh my goodness. This is some bad chess. Some bad chess by me and some bad chess by my opponent. Okay, well, now it's a whole different game. I mean, now the desperation element is gone. Now we can just play chess. I kind of want to just go here now. Yeah, and they can't take there because then the bishop would hang. So I think we can go here. And then if they go here, we just get to go here. And now the rooks are really involved. And I think I can do this. Yeah, I think so. If nothing else, if takes, I could go here. And then be on the open file. I mean, I'm up a piece now. So like, I don't really have to do a lot in this game now to win. Yeah. I think I'm just going to double on this. Yeah, I'm just going to double on this file. It's not like I can take that pawn. Okay. It's an interesting idea. Setting me up for like if I go here, they can take, and then this would drop. I could take here though. And then takes, and we would just trade. But I think I have a better plan of going maybe here. Or even just here. That does seem to hold things together pretty well. It minimizes my bishop. But then if they go here, I think I'm okay with that. Maybe the idea is something like that. Get that rook involved. Just trying to figure out if I bring my queen over, is it doing anything? Yes. Okay, I guess what I've decided, I think I want to go here actually. No, I want to go here. Is that it is defending this, so I can just go here. Because that, if I can go here now, I'm in good shape. If they go there, then I think probably I can go here. I do have to be careful of this bishop not being able to move to a cool spot. Okay, well that's fine, right? I wanted to go here anyway. Sure. That seems great. Okay, but now they can't take that. But I still don't think that's that big of a deal. Let's go. I'm thinking here. Like this queen feels kind of out of place now. Yeah, we'll go here. Putting pressure on everything. Something like this I do not think is a good idea. I'll just take. Ooh, something like this is interesting though. It does hang this piece, but I wonder if they can set up something. This has very minimal squares to go to. Doesn't look like anything bad is going to happen. Maybe if they went like here. But, you know, that takes a bit. Also, that would leave this. No, it wouldn't leave that check because this would be up there. All right, well, I mean, we may win this game. Our opponent may have just given us a win, which is funny for me to keep track of. Like, I don't know. I had totally forgotten that this game began with me blundering a pawn. Like, I had put that out of my mind somehow. And maybe that's good. Maybe I should put it out of my mind for now, and then we can revisit, like, what the heck happened later. Hey, is this bishop just trapped? I guess not. I don't mean trapped as that I'm going to win it for free, but I mean if I can forcibly trade it off for my knight here, I think I'm in very good shape. It's kind of holding the position together. Without it, I have a lot happening here where I can really bring in a lot of attackers, and that would mean they have a lone queen to do their attacking. So yeah, this is great. Lone queen, not the best attacker. Assume they're going to take this way. If they take this way, it seems very bad. It's like check, queen comes in behind, and tactically, I think it's just over. Okay, let's make sure tactically it's just over. Here, let's look at this. Queen comes in behind. There is this check. I come back. There is this check. Ooh, interesting. So do they actually have a perpetual here? That's the question. I do have this clever idea of going here because of that bishop, and that might work actually quite well. But we do need to watch out for the perpetual. I think first, though, I can check. There's no reason not to do that. So we'll grab the check. And then if they go here, then I can bring the queen in maybe faster. Okay, so they did go there. So this is mate. But that is... I can go here, covering the square still. Check. And that is not mate, because he can go there, and then I go there, and it's mate. Yeah, so I think they stepped into a mate. Okay, nice. Well, the win may be undeserved, but that's chess. This is chess. This is how chess works sometimes. You win games, and you're like, what? Huh? I won that game? Like, I thought it was done for. Okay, so let's look at this very weird game, a tale of blunders, really. I mean, the beginning is just a very unambitious, normal, exchange Slav where it's supposed to be boring. By the way, my exchange Slavs are never boring. They're always exciting. I'll just 100% book moves until here. This is the first non-book move. And let's see. What does the engine say? The engine says castling is best and b5 is fine. Now, clearly, a terrible move would be to go to b4 and hang the pawn. That's a terrible move. I was really struggling with what to do here. I mean, this was the obvious move, right? But then I just didn't like this move. This is the move that spooked me into making a terrible move. But really, this move is... actually, I think horrible now that I look at it more. We're on this guy. He is unprotected. So can't I do the little knight takes middle pawn trick? Let's check with the engine to see if that indeed works. It does not work. Because of this trick. It's the knight takes comes back trick. So that's the only reason that didn't work. But still, we can move the knight anywhere and be pretty good. I would, my gut says to go here, and then I can come around here, and the engine says, yes, you're doing very well. They're going to continue developing, and then we're just playing chess, and I'm doing quite fine. Instead, I don't know what happened. I don't even know how to explain it. I think it's, normally when I'm considering a move like b4, I've already played a move like a3, but I will say, in say an exchange Slav, I don't play a3 b4. I don't play either move. So I don't know what happened. And then my opponent didn't even see it. It just castled. And not only is it hanging to the knight, it's hanging to the bishop also. So I ignored it again. Made a nice developing move. Probably the second best move in the position. First best being any move that protects that pawn. And then they took the pawn. And I was like, well, that's game. Like, I've lost. It's a very incremental type position. I'm down a pawn. The engine says that black is barely winning. That is staggering to me. 0.5. I guess I don't know anything about chess. All right, so I just moved the knight over, and now the engine says, yeah, no, that was not the way to do it. That was not the way to do it. Now you are losing by 1.6. So what the engine has in mind is something much more clever, I think, which is my idea of, well, now we have to attack the king side. Well, we could do it by going like this, and then after we chase the knight away, we can go here, and now we're actually attacking the king side, and they might have to start weakening, and we can do stuff. So my idea was I get a free move that develops my position with this exchange. Now the queen is poised to be better, but I don't have real attack. I think we can see that. So I just continued making the best moves I could. I pushed this pawn. Let's see what the engine thinks of that. The engine says it is nearly equal here. It's 0.6. How is it almost equal? Do I get a pawn back here? So let's say I were to take. Yeah, what am I doing? This is wow. Okay, so I totally missed that by moving him. If I were to take here, they would have to take this way. And now I don't know. I don't know how great I feel about this attack, but there's certainly something here. The engine suggests since this guy's in danger, I should just take, trade, and then now bring in the rest of the pieces the best I can to start attacking. Though I would think after this move that the engine is suggesting they would just take and should be fine. But even in this mess of a position, the engine says black is only up 0.5. This is hard for me to believe. Black is up an entire pawn. While you could say their king looks vulnerable, I'm not sure I would really agree with that. I mean, move over, double the rooks on this file. That doesn't look that problematic to me. So, I don't know. Interesting. But we'll come back to the game. Instead, I just pushed this pawn. Not a real attack. Then they went there. Very reasonable. I went here. They brought their knight in, which seemed like a good idea, but I could easily kick it. And then they just moved it back to a safe square, right? Like this is a great square for this knight. It can come around here. And I was just like, darn, this knight will reposition, and that's unfortunate. And then I used a lot of time here. I used an entire minute in a 10-minute game to look at like, well, what am I supposed to do now? What if I go here? Maybe I can do things like this. Do I go like here and try to bring him in? Do I push this? And then when I looked at like, will the bishop get trapped? It's like, well, I have this escape hatch of taking the knight. And only then was I like, oh my goodness, this knight is hanging. So it was a very weird game of me not being able to spot hanging pieces. And then basically taking here is kind of over. Like, it's very hard to come back from a whole piece down. I'm going to turn on the engine just to see now if there are any grievous errors that we made. But this all looks, these are all very normal moves in a position that you are way ahead. Like you can't really complain about opponent making losing moves when they're lost. That was probably a little bit worse. H8 seemed at least slightly interesting. I will say I didn't see the idea here. I saw the perpetual, and I was like, how am I going to do it? Maybe I'm going to have to do this. What I wanted to do was go here, threaten this mating thing. But there's actually a really cool move here, which I wasn't acknowledging. I have this, so I can go here. And then I've got all kinds of windmill stuff, right? So like if they go here, and I go here, and they come back to here, well, guess what? I get to do it again, and now there's no pawn in the way, and bam, I can just win a queen. So there was definitely a cool windmill tactic here that I think I would have missed. If I'm being honest, I had become so smitten or so taken with this idea of the perpetual that I was worried way more about that than just kind of a basic tactic that I study every day in my tactics books, right? Just windmill them. Like, this is the most basic tactic there is, and I probably would have missed it. Luckily, they went the other way. I saw the mate. The mate is, of course, here, and won the game. So, I mean, once again, the takeaway is, at this level and levels below this, your opponent is probably going to make a mistake. They might not give you a flat-out free knight, but they very well will give you a free pawn like I gave my opponent. Like, I played a classical game last night where my opponent blundered a pawn in the opening. It turns out it might not have been a full blunder. Maybe there were some sack elements, but blunders happen. Look for the mistakes. Do not be so despondent in your game that you can't see the mistakes that you are making or your opponent is making. And I think another thing is just make solid moves, right? Like, you don't always have to make amazing moves. My whole opening, I actually played these first 9 moves were all book, and it was just me making regular moves. And then even after mistakes, it's just make regular moves. And then, I don't know, when you get desperate, you got to try to make something happen, right? Like, I'm not saying I did a good job making something happen. I actually don't think I did. I think the engine's ideas were much better of, like, keeping this bishop on the board so it could attack the square. But trying to come up with a way. You can't just be down material and statically sit back. You gotta do something. So keep those eyes open. Don't sit back and do nothing. And then, look for the basic tactic. Like, I would have missed this. I think I would have missed this windmill idea. Like, these are basic tactics. Find them. Find them in your games. Do your tactics. Find the basic tactics in your games. And it's going to do it. I hope you enjoyed this episode of The Road to 2200. We're up to 1944. See you, everybody.